Iterate flight attendant, the 7 most common questions, already with tips on how to answer them. Hi, how are you? This is the Fly Deck Briefing. I'm Romulo Gutierrez, and I've been a recruiter and selector for international airlines for 27 years. And I brought here the 7 questions that will definitely come up in your interview for Iterate flight attendant. So grab your paper and pen, write down everything I'm going to tell you, the question and the answer tip. What's the 7th question? What attracted you to apply for a flight attendant position at ETH instead of applying to other airlines? Why ETH and not other airlines? Here, the ideal is for you to give an honest answer, okay? But above all, an answer that shows the company's motto. ETH's motto is from Abu Dhabi to the world. So you need to try to show that you appreciate this idea of being a bridge between cultures. So I'll give you an example here. Look, I chose to apply to Etihad and not to other airlines for 2 main reasons. The first is that Etihad is a company that handles everything in a very exclusive way. Every customer is unique, every customer is important. And this is closely connected to the company's own motto, which is from Abu Dhabi to the world. In other words, one of the reasons is that I believe in connecting people, I believe in sharing and cultural exchange, and Etihad is a leader in that. That's one of the reasons why I chose Etihad. And secondly, I like to get to know other cultures. I value cultural connections with people from around the world, and in this way, I see Etihad as a bridge between different cultures and people. And because it has such strong mottos that Etihad has and that resonate with my personality, that's why I chose to apply for this Etihad selection process. So that's a good answer, right? You should bring up personal matters, aspects of your personality, but don't forget to incorporate the company's motto or the company's mottos into your answer. Shall we move on to the 6th one? Question? Careful, because I already covered the 5th. The 4th, the 3rd, and the 2nd and 1st are the ones that most people fail. What's the 6th one? How did you prepare for this interview, considering ETH's motto? So once again, they're going from Abu Dhabi to the world, a bridge between cultures, okay? And now I'm going to ask you to use the rule of 3 whys or the rule of 3 reasons. How did you prepare for this interview? I could tell you this. Look, I prepared myself in 3 very special ways. The first of them, I did a thorough reading of the company's culture just to understand how everything works here inside. Even though I'm not an employee yet, I believe that by understanding how relationships, flights, and the customer experience work, I'll have a better chance in this selection process. So, understanding the culture. A second point, I also try to get a sense of how the employees, the staff at Etihad, feel about working here. And I found that the level of satisfaction isn't just among the passengers. The employees are also happy working at Etihad. And I prepared myself by checking out opinions, seeing what people say within the company, so that I could be more direct in the interview. And the third reason why, how I prepared for this flight attendant interview at Etihad, was by looking for passenger opinions. And I found that at Etihad, everything is about providing an excellent experience. So those were the 3 steps I took to prepare for this interview moment. If you want to add a 4th step, maybe it would be working on self-awareness. I also set aside some time for self-critique to identify areas for improvement so that I could be as honest as possible during the selection process. That's a good answer. 5th question, here we go. 7th, 6th, 5th. What do you understand by world-class hospitality? Iterate is a company. A company, one of the biggest companies in the world. If not, it's among the top 3 companies in the world. And then they're going to ask what you understand by world-class hospitality. I suggest you base your answer on the company's 3 essential elements, which are flight safety, leadership, and hospitality. I'll repeat, flight safety, leadership, and hospitality. You could say, regarding world-class hospitality, I understand that Etihad has 3 fundamental pillars. First, safety. Flight safety is a fundamental motto for Etihad, which is why it stands out. This is seen positively all over the world. The second aspect is leadership. Etihad seeks leadership in its market, in its business sector, and it truly empowers its employees to provide the best experience for all passengers. And the third factor, which I see as world-class hospitality, is the matter of welcoming. It's not just a passenger, it's an experience. It's a set of experiences within the same flight. And I believe that in this way, Etihad's hospitality spreads throughout the world. And I would really like to be part of that spreading. And of this company. Wonderful. That's when I can do a good job. This answer. Shall we go to the fourth one? Let's go. What are your expectations for working for a world-class company like Etihad? Here, the interviewer is trying to gauge if your professional expectations are aligned with what Etihad is going to offer you, okay? I've brought here 3 elements for an answer that I think could be interesting for your interview, which are innovation, challenge, and enjoyment, okay? So expectations, I could say. I have 3 excellent expectations. The first one is to enjoy working as a flight attendant. A company that provides structure, a company that offers training, a company that gives training to its employees, and all of that is very enjoyable. The second aspect is the challenge. Working with world-class hospitality is challenging, and it's about overcoming obstacles every single day. And I like to feel challenged, and that's why I would like to be working. And those are the expectations I have for Iterate. So I answered the first 4 questions, the 7th, the 6th, the 5th, and the 4th. Shall we move on to the 3rd one? Let's go. Before I continue, maybe you want to do a mock interview, an interview practice, where you'll be interviewed by me and I'll give you feedback. Whether you did well, whether you didn't, your best answers, things you need to watch out for, where you can improve, whether it's for Iterate or any other global company. You can reach out to me on WhatsApp. The number is on the screen. International code 5511, number 977065417. Just contact me. The prices are low for subscribers of the Flydeck Briefing channel. Here, videos never run out and never disappoint. There are new videos every Wednesday. Just subscribe and leave your like to support this project and help it take off. Let's move on to the 3rd question. Tell me about a time when you delighted a customer. Even if you don't have experience as a flight attendant, that's not a problem. You can share other professional experiences as long as a customer was impacted, delighted, or made happy by you, okay? I'll give you an example here. Let's say I used to work as a mattress salesman at a mall in Miami. And then they asked me this. Tell me about a time when you delighted a customer. So I'm going to use the style method where I'll describe a situation, a task, an action, and a result. So the moment I delighted a customer was at a certain time when I helped a big family buy. The father, the mother, plus 5 kids, and they were there looking for mattresses, especially because the kids' mattresses were already in really bad shape to sleep on. Situation. And then from there, I took on a task, which was to try to understand the best type of product to offer them. And they told me their budget was really tight. From there, I took action. The action I took was to lay out all the available mattress lines, the most affordable ones, but that were still good quality for the kids. And I offered them a very interesting payment plan with monthly installments and very little interest. And the result was that they bought the number of mattresses they needed. They got a double mattress and 5 children's mattresses. They left really happy because they thought they wouldn't be able to afford it, and that was the moment I really delighted the customer. In fact, they even left a testimonial. Right there on the store's website as social proof, you know? So, when you're asked to share a situation where you delighted a customer, it can be in aviation or outside of aviation, but use the STAR method so your answer is solid. Now, let's move on to the 2nd question, which you will definitely be asked during the flight attendant selection process at Etihad. They'll ask you about onboard conflicts. So they might say, for example, they might ask, if a passenger is very nervous during takeoff, starts to feel unwell, threatens to faint, and begins to sweat, what would you do in that moment? Or they could say, a passenger starts a verbal argument with another over political issues, and one threatens physical aggression against the other. What would you do? So they will, or they might present complex and difficult situations for you to solve. What's my advice? Regardless of the situation, you need to keep in mind, and also, in your words, 4 fundamental elements: calmness, courtesy, safety, and hierarchy. Calmness. When faced with a situation like this, first of all, I would approach calmly to understand what was happening. Courtesy. The second step. I would, in an elegant and courteous way, maintain composure in order to manage this conflict. Safety. If this conflict escalated to a flight safety issue, I would immediately and politely reprimand the passenger and warn them about flight safety matters, which are fundamental principles of ITRAD. If that doesn't work, hierarchy. If, after following the established procedures, the issue still isn't resolved, I would call the chief flight attendant, and if necessary, I would contact the captain so that everyone could have the best possible flight experience with ITRAD. So you can give your opinions about conflicts, but remember, you can use 1, 2, 3, or even all 4 of these elements to resolve them. And one of the first questions that will definitely come up in your interview is, hypothetically, if a colleague is making a procedural mistake, what would you do? What would you do if you saw a colleague making a procedural mistake? Then you'll have to discern whether it's an ethical mistake or just a regular mistake. An ethical mistake, for example, is a colleague eating the plane's food at an inappropriate time and eating food that isn't meant for the crew. That's an ethical issue. They're not acting properly. What would you do? In this case, the answer is, I would observe. I would talk to the colleague and ask why they were doing that, question them at that moment, and tell them that it's not standard procedure. And when we landed, I would talk to them again and let them know that I would have to report the situation to the captain. So you report it because it's an ethical issue, a matter of misconduct. Now, if it's just a procedural mistake, just the procedural mistake. So, if it's a procedural error, I would identify it. I would talk to the colleague about the mistake that was being made. I would teach them the correct way to do it, and if necessary, talk to the chief flight attendant. If they corrected it, then it wouldn't be necessary to talk to the chief flight attendant. Now, these questions are some of the questions that Etihad asks. Could there be other questions? Yes, there could. I've left a complete tutorial here for you to supplement this knowledge. Go check it out, and I'm rooting for you. Everything's going to work out. For your interview. Great preparation, best wishes, and see you soon. Bye-bye.